Maybe they don't start with our.
Hey, how do you guys, get coffee? Yeah. You get fit. Which race did you win?
I don't know. Well,
Which race did you win? Yeah. I don't know.
This time we will have an invocation for a special meeting, and my understanding is that Reverend Ditzworth he has some health issues and will not be with us tonight. So if you can remember in your prayers, that'd be nice. Mary?
Good evening. My name is Mary Tom, and I'm from Crossroads Community Church, and I'm honored to be here tonight just to pray over you in meeting. So join me as we do that. Father, we thank you tonight that you are the Lord who goes before, and that you are able to give wisdom and guidance and direction as needed for this meeting tonight. I thank you, Lord, that your word says in 1 Timothy in chapter 2, I urge then, first of all, that requests, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for everyone, for kings and for all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. And Father, included in this are all the men and women who are here tonight who represent this city council meeting. And so I'm asking on their behalf that you would give them wisdom tonight. Father, for the items on their agenda, Lord, for the situations that need to be discussed, Lord, they need your wisdom tonight. They need your clarity. They need perhaps even to be of one mind and one heart concerning issues and things that are just difficult to discern and to be able to make decisions about. And so tonight, I'm asking that you would give them a fresh wisdom and revelation from you, God, a fresh sense of direction, Lord, for situations that may be puzzlesome or confusing, God. And Father, we thank you that your light, Lord, can come into every situation. And so tonight, Lord, I'm asking that you would flood light, the light of your word, the light of your truth, Father, into the things that might be hidden or dark, unknown, Lord, that you want to bring out so that there can be clarity tonight. And Father, I pray that you will also bless each one of these men and women, their families, Father, their many hours of service, Lord, in the many different ways that are represented here. And tonight, Father, I thank you in advance for all that you're going to do, Father, to give them breakthrough tonight, Father, that are on their hearts and on yours. And everyone said, amen.
Thank you very much for that wonderful invocation. At this time, we'll formally call this special meeting of the Freeport City Council to order. And Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Mayor Vitz,
Here.
Alderperson Clem,
Here.
McClenathan,
Here.
Ross,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Busker,
Here.
Brashaw, Keister,
Here.
Chesney.
Okay, we did receive a communication this afternoon that Alderperson Brashaw would not be with us. At this time, in the absence of Alderperson Brashaw, Mike, would you give us the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we approve the agenda, a couple of announcements. First, item 7 was added to this special council agenda because we were informed through our staff, through our grant person, Nancy, that EDA would look with favor upon a very prompt application because they had some year-end money. So we were rushing to beat the band to try to get this application in because we felt that the prospects of approval were very good. We were informed this afternoon that the county has to also sign this. They don't have it on their agenda. They're not going to act on it until June. So there's really no point in adopting item 7 at this time because our approval was still going to be held in abeyance until later. So item 7, pursuant to that communication and our grant writer, is withdrawn. Second, you'll notice that item 3 is an executive session. The clerk added that just in case there was a request to go into executive session. I think we probably resolved all of the questions that we had in the firefighters contract. So in the absence of a special request to go into executive session, that is simply on there as an agenda item. With that understanding, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
It's moved by Alderman Keister. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderperson Miller to adopt the agenda. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 2 in the special agenda is public comments. Are there any public comments on agenda items?
There's no one signed on the sheet tonight.
Okay. We therefore move to item 4, which is resolutions, and the first is adoption of resolution 2017-26. Clerk, would you please read this resolution?
This is a resolution to ratify collective bargaining agreement with the International Association of Firefighters, IAFF, local number 441.
Okay. Fire Chief, is there anything you'd like to add to the conversations we've had about the bargaining agreement with the International Association of Firefighters?
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, this is a proposed 4-year agreement. I think both sides are eager to get this resolved and be finished and be behind us. So I'm hoping that you find this agreeable and acceptable this evening and vote to pass it. Thank you.
Just an informational item here. There was some discussion about the contents of the agreement. This was distributed, I believe, in draft form on Thursday. We also received last Thursday notice that the firefighters local and their council had gone through that agreement with a fine-tooth comb. We were waiting for them to sign off on all the provisions. They also wanted to go through the exhibits, and they had some questions about whether the wage rates had been calculated appropriately. They satisfied themselves that they were. So as we present this to you tonight, my understanding is that the final version of this, which was also distributed last week, is indeed what we will sign tomorrow, pending your ratification. If there are any questions about this agreement, now would be the time to discuss them.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Clem.
motion to adopt the resolution. Second.
It's moved by Alderman Clem, seconded by Alderman in the 7th Ward. Easter, I'm having a brain lock tonight. To adopt this resolution. All in favor? First of all, is there any discussion? Is there any debate? Are there any questions? This has been a multi-year process. I'm very pleased that we finally have agreement and we do not have to put you through an arbitration proceeding. It would have taken months more. If there is no other discussion, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
I should note that it's a resolution and it's an accompanying agreement too. Keister,
Aye.
Chesney, this is for the adoption of resolution 2017-26 and its agreement.
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
McClanton,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Miller, Busker.
Aye.
That passes 7-0.
We now come to item 5, resolution 2017-27. Madam Clerk, would you read this resolution?
This is a resolution to enter into a month-to-month lease for the vacant fire station on Southwest Avenue with an option to purchase as amended May 4th, 2017.
Just a note, I think as you see in the drafted part of this, all of the references to an option to purchase have been stricken as requested by the council. This is now a straight clarification of the lease provisions month to month for rental of the property. I'm told that there is some thought about laying this over. In the opinion of the chief and myself, we'd like to have clarification of those terms and conditions because we think that that would be a proper housekeeping item. If the council wants to make a different motion, that's fine with us. It's your pleasure.
Mayor,
Alderman Chesney.
I'd like to move the resolution to the May 15th meeting.
So motion to move it to the May 15th meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, I think there's a division of vote here, so Madam Clerk, please take a roll call vote.
Keister,
No.
Chesney,
Aye.
Clem,
No.
McClanton,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Miller. Busker.
Aye.
That passes 5-2.
Okay, item 6 is resolution 2017-28. Madam Clerk, would you please read this resolution?
This is a resolution approving first modification to the memorandum of understanding with the city engineer.
This resolution is presented to the council because of prior discussion with the city engineer, whose contract formally ended at the end of April. This conversation took place at a time when changes are going on in the Water and Sewer Commission. He was opposed to a longer extension than 60 days, but I also know that today the Water and Sewer Commission met, and there's some interim arrangements that are in place here. Given the fact that there is a lot of moving parts here, I think it would be appropriate for this to be laid over, and perhaps longer than a week or two. So what's the pleasure of the council?
Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Chesney.
in speaking with Engineer Gallagher, he didn't feel at this juncture that it was necessary to advance a memorandum of understanding, so it appears that the parties have, at least in the interim, are okay with the standing agreement. And then I would suspect this will be picked up with the city manager at a later date.
Would you like to kick it over to the first meeting in June?
Sure.
Okay. Alderman Chesney makes a motion to refer Resolution 2017-28 or any prospective amendments thereto
Second.
to the first meeting in June of the city council. That motion has been seconded by Alderman Ross. Any discussion? Is there anybody here that has any clarification? This means that technically his compensation package has expired, the special package that we passed. However, that doesn't prohibit us from going back and making it retroactive at a later date, or to change those terms and conditions and make them retroactive. There's no further discussion, no further debate. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 7 has been withdrawn for the reasons stated. We now move to item 8. Madam Clerk, would you please read this introduction?
This is action on executive session, closed session minutes lawfully closed under this act, whether for the purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.06.
Okay, we have 4 motions that we need to have made. Chair will entertain a motion on the first one, which is to approve the following minutes with specific notice that their tapes are not released, and there's an entire list. Is there someone who would like to undertake that task?
So moved.
We actually have to read it into the record.
Would you like me to read it into the record?
Perfect.
The first one is the September 6, 2016, in regard to subject number 1, review of closed session minutes under 5 ILCS 120/2C21. The September 6, 2016, it's in regards to the subject number 2, litigation. October 3rd, 2016, in regard to subject number 1, collective negotiating matters. October 3rd, 2016, in regard to subject number 2, litigation. November 7th, 2016, in regard to collective negotiating matters. December 5th, 2016, in regard to subject number 1, collective negotiating matters. December 5th, 2016, in regard to subject number 2, litigation. December 19th, 2016, in regard to subject number 1, collective negotiating matters. December 19th, 2016, in regard to subject number 2, litigation. January 3rd, 2017, in regard to subject number 1, collective negotiating matters. January 17th, 2017, in regard to subject number 1, collective negotiating matters. January 17th, 2017, in regard to subject number 2, litigation. January 30th, 2017, in regard to subject number 1, collective negotiating matters. March 20th, 2017, in regard to subject number 1, security procedures, and subject number 2, which is collective negotiating matters. April 17th, 2017, in regard to subject number 1, collective negotiating matters.
Great. Alderman Keister moves approval of the following minutes with the specific notice that their tapes are not released. That is the list that has been just read into the record. Is there a second?
So moved.
Alderman Busker gives a second to that motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please take the roll. The motion to approve.
Keister,
Aye.
Chesney.
Aye.
Clown.
Aye.
McClanathan.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
Passes 7-0.
Okay, item 2, Madam Clerk, would you please read that?
The motion that was provided to the council to make the determination that the need for confidentiality no longer exists as to the minutes from the following closed session minutes or portions of the minutes, and that these portions should be made available for public inspection. And that item is September 6, 2016, subject matter number 1, and that is review of closed session minutes under 5 ILCS 120/2C21.
Is there a motion for approval from the council?
So moved.
It's moved by Alderman Keister.
Second.
Approve that determination that confidentiality no longer exists for the minutes of September 6, 2016, subject number 1. And the second is,
Alderman McClung?
no, Alderman McClanathan. It is? Okay. Fair enough. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please take the roll on the motion to approve.
Keister.
Aye.
Chesney.
Aye.
Clown.
Aye.
McClanathan.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
Almost said Bradshaw, but I didn't. 7-0. And the next item is a motion to make the determination that the need for confidentiality still exists in relation to all other closed session minutes and tapes identified as not released. The city council in the closed session reviewed the minutes of the executive session and determined the need for confidentiality still exists in relation to all other closed session minutes and tapes identified as not released. Do we have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion.
That was made by Alderman Busker and seconded by Alderman Keister. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please take the roll on the motion to approve.
Keister.
Aye.
Chesney.
Aye.
Clem.
Aye.
McClanathan.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
That passes 7-0.
We now move to item 4. Madam Clerk, would you read the motion that we would like for this item?
As the council discussed, this next item is to move to authorize destruction of verbatim recordings of the following closed sessions, all of which are over 18 months old, and the written minutes of these closed sessions have previously been approved by the city council. The first one is October 19th, 2015. The next one is October 13th, 2015. October 5th, 2015. Both for the subject number 1 and subject number 2. September 21st, 2015, September 8th, 2015, July 20th, 2015, which is for collective negotiating matters and appointment and employment compensation. July 6th, 2015. Subject number 1 is appointment, employment, and subject number 2 is collective negotiating matters. June 1st, 2015. Subject number 1 is for appointment, employment compensation. Subject number 2 for June 1st is litigation. Subject number 3 for June 1st is collective negotiating matters. May 4th, 2015, subject number 1 is collective negotiating matters. And the subject number 2 is appointment, employment compensation. April 6th, 2015, collective negotiating matters. And that is the list of items that are over 18 months old, and the written minutes have already been approved by the city council.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
It's moved by Alderman Keister. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Busker. Madam Clerk, please take the roll on the motion to approve.
Feaster.
Aye.
Chesney. Clem.
Aye.
McClanathan.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
That passes 7-0.
That concludes item 8. We'll move to item 9, which is public comments on agenda or non-agenda items. Is there any public comment? Mr. Teck.
I wanted to tell you I won the first place of softball at Special Olympics this weekend.
Congratulations, good job.
I pulled way down the by like that, down to first place of it. So. And one said, Congregation Noble Peace.
I haven't heard, I'll be checking on it.
All right.
Is there any other public comments? If not, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. We will adjourn until promptly at 6 p.m., at which time we'll reconvene in the committee of the whole. And we have a separate agenda that will govern the committee of the whole.
So moved.
Motion is made by Alderman Keister. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman McClanathan. All in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. We'll stay in abeyance for 8 minutes.
I feel. Look at that. I can tell. No, you don't have a little pep in your step. Yeah, never signature lounge. Mario? Sharp guy, I love him. Yeah. I feel better. I know, and he's really on board with it. He went that way.
Yeah, Joey told me about it. We went down through the. Well, they did the tip. And, the lady came up and talked to Joey about it. Joey talked to her. Yes. And put it in the pocket.
You didn't write that girl. You know what we call that? Catch your kids.
Okay.
Catch your kids. You know that? I'm telling you.
What you talk, Joey? He
Well,
talked
I'm
about it.
telling you. I'm telling you. Joey's got the name out. I'm saying though.
Joey did, Joey next up. He said something.
Well, I'm.
He's gonna be in there.
Yeah.
I just never get his plan.
Not today.
Monday. What you got to do?
I don't know. He says he's gonna do a Lord prayer. Well, it's not. Right.
How you gonna fight on that?
I never hear it. My wife was 102.1.
Tommy did a good job. Yeah, swear in next week. Next Monday. You said a great part. Yeah, that's right. I'm not 4:30. 4:30, yes. It's here at 4:30. You're correct.
So you're gonna make out?
What's that?
You're gonna make out?
I don't know.
You know where there's that off ramp, you know, right, yeah, you know, right where the band is over. Okay. On that path, right there, there's a bench, and there are one tree that goes halfway in. Yes, and then one, and that one tree is actually in the pen where, you know, where the bicycle leader belongs.
So they're responsible for the material. They pay for the hours for that.
Yeah, that one tree.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just wanna know.
Yeah, we did it a year ago. We used to do all kinds of.
60 seconds and put it in the stage. It's one of those hard range sharp twigs where we're watching it and the sword someone tore it out, especially what
Some of these ones are really not.
Yeah.
We put city official. Whatever sits there, yeah, whole stretch in front of us. And then one on west side. With a custom made sign.
What's gonna happen?
This gets gutted out. New parking lot with 7 stalls. So it'd be the 4 light pickup trucks. Jolly, Lincoln, Homer, which is Kurt, light pickup trucks. So, well, they're just kind of parking in the city. So we'll have 4 manager, treasurer, his Zoom configuration is 7 spaces, 4 city trucks, 3. I would assume the manager wants a spot here tonight. But the treasurer is more. Treasurer wants some and then the clerk stays So we'll have 7 spaces. And all that has to be done. The blacktop and the cement sidewalk, hard surface. Hopefully we can fix all this stuff. Well, now it's getting the house to hand up there. Seriously. Do it all, but it'll get a lot. The blacktop will be
Yeah, well, I had a tree. I actually called them.
so that's.
I got a duck every day on my list. And I said, I know a guy.
No matter what they're doing. So we're basically just. We can do side.
Yeah, Tim Dock's never an issue. And I said, well, you're a commissioner. You can do it's a day, it's a half.
So we get close, we don't just do
Yeah.
right or wrong. Yeah, I don't think so, yeah. But this is why you say it's cheap. That's one of the things we have to do. Yeah, no, well, I don't keep that in mind, but I think we've always been real busy. Because we can do it all. We could do over 30 years.
He had a father in this at home. She got big.
We need to focus on this. And then we're gonna have to argue about the trees. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, you ready? Okay. Talk to you, John. Good luck to you in the future. Hi, Peter, how are you? Oh, yeah. Starting next Monday. All right. Yeah. We're in May. We're going to start prepping some spots. Yeah, we're coming. This week. We got all kinds of stuff.
This time we'll formally call the committee of the whole portion of this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Gitz,
Here.
Clem,
Here.
McClenathan,
Here.
Ross,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Buster,
Here.
Brashaw,
It's a desirable place for customers to come to. And I think by implementing environment here in Freeport, the other thing I've found in doing research and things that people are looking now for an experience. It's not just a place to go, but they're looking for an experience. And I think anything we can do to help promote business in the community to develop an experience kind of based opportunity, I think we also need to support. And so I would suggest that this be pushed forward and that we look at it as a positive move for the downtown area. Thank you.
Approval of the minutes from meeting held on April 10th. Motion by Alderman Keister, second by Alderman Chesney. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. All right. Seeing how number 7's been moved to the May 15th meeting, does anyone have any comments on it tonight, or just want to move it on to the 15th? Open it up. Seeing none, we'll move on to number 8, discussion of an ordinance to add section 1026.23, curbside cafes. Seeing how this is at the request of Alderman McClenathan, do you want to start it off?
Thank you. I do want to start it off, and I started off actually by incorporating some of the comments of Mr. Borger, and just bringing this idea forward because I've been approached by a variety of individuals in regards to this concept, frankly, over a period of time. Largely what I'm asking for tonight, when I submitted it as a draft ordinance, I indicated that I'm not married to the language on here. I just wanted to put forward something that shows you guys kind of conceptually, what we're talking about, what this could look like. A lot of the minutiae and things of that nature, I'm not married to one way or the other. That said, for purposes of starting the conversation here in regards to this idea, it's something that we do see. We see in cities a lot larger than us. We see it in cities a lot smaller than us. We see it overseas too, if you look in Europe and things of that nature. It just presents another option for businesses. Another experience, if you will, as Mr. Borger was saying. So what I'd like to see, and as I reviewed various other communities, like I said, there's plenty of communities that have these options. The difference between the sidewalk cafes and the curbside cafes is the sidewalk cafes, which we currently have an ordinance, are on the sidewalk area, usually have some restriction in regards to travel and things of that nature. The curbside is in the parking area. And as you see when you look through sample ordinances, there's a variety of restrictions and planning. It has to get approved by designated individuals in the city. You have to submit a detailed plan. It can't be in certain areas and things of that nature. It has to go through all that. So again, kind of what my intent would be is if the majority of the council indicates we'd like to see this concept implemented, I'd recommend then we would just indicate to Director Mills to make some administrative recommendations and changes and options, and also solicit feedback from fellow council members and bring this back for June 1 on the council. So then it could be on to move that forward. So that's what I would say for purposes of introduction.
Any other comments from anyone else? Chair. Alderman Chisholm.
Thank you, and thank you, Alderman McClenathan. I think it's a great idea. Director, going through the ordinance, I would just ask that you make every effort to make it as flexible as possible. Oftentimes when we write these ordinances, we lock it down so tight to where nobody does it. So I think that we need to fly first. We also want to be aware and cognizant that there are certainly some legal issues, some safety issues that we need to address, but I think that we can adopt best practices with other municipalities and get it right. And Alderman McClanahan, is the hope to get this approved in June?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor?
This ordinance was subject to some staff discussion this morning. The council has before it a memorandum that has been prepared in some of these issues. I'm not going to go through every detail in the memorandum, but here's two things I would like to share with you. First, I agree with Mr. Borger that this is an idea that has some merit. I think that we want to do things that will create experience with our restaurants and other establishments. That said, I also think we need to sweat the details. There was a book written about sweating the details. One of the things that I have put in a memorandum is I think you need to include the police department in the review of those plans. But perhaps the most ominous thing that we need to take care of is that there is an approval process that exists for sidewalk cafes to look at those plans by the Liquor Commission. And this is only a draft, but I think that when we're doing the technical review, making this consistent with previous ordinances and taking care of some of the security arrangements, and maybe even consider whether the sidewalk, instead of bisecting this, should be in the outside perimeter like it is, I believe, in some other cities, would be a good idea. At the end of the memorandum, there's an allusion to a couple of other establishments. So my only other comment is this. Many times when we're creating a new program or creating an idea, there's the law of unanticipated consequences, what we call collateral issues. So be mindful that there are other establishments out there in other places, including in shopping centers, that don't want any restrictions, don't want any security perimeter, just want to serve alcohol wherever they want. I think you would agree that the police department has quite enough to do without having to worry about the security of these premises or what may happen. So I believe that some attention to the details that the council is considering will serve you very well in terms of crafting an ordinance that meets all the objectives that you have without leaving some of the obvious issues unattended to. In concept, I think this is kind of neat. I just advise you and urge you to think carefully through the issues that have been collected for your consideration.
Sure.
Alderman Chisholm.
I'd make a motion to move this to the June city council meeting.
Second that.
All right, motion's made by Alderman Chisholm, seconded by Alderperson Miller to move this to the June 1st meeting.
I'd like to do some more discussion if I could.
Alderman Clem.
I think there's some good points, and I also agree. I mean, Brian and I talked about this a couple of years ago in concept when you went, I think it was in Pontiac or one of the places that had one, and I agree with it. I think one of the things to think about are some of the consequences, and you tie it into this, of the couple places that he mentioned. I can sit back and think of 3-4 places that might want to say, yeah, I want to do that here. You know, then I don't want to, really don't want to slow it down, but I also want to say, do we need to take a look at those things? I mean, like, there's two of them, three of them I can think of right off the bat. 2 of them are mentioned here. What really got me to thinking, you got Fiesta Tequila, you got Fiesta Cancun, okay? You got the VFW that's already been approved for putting in an outside patio. Could they just put in something along the parking lot? You know, this is just things I think we need to stop and think about. I'm by no means trying to hold it up. I'm just trying to say to you, if you're gonna put it in, you know, do you tackle this totally separately and then come back when they call it the day after it's passed and say, hey, I'd like to do that now, and then you tell them they can't.
Mr. Chair. Alderman McClanahan. I think you cover that in the ordinances. There's paragraphs in regards to location, a distance from certain things and where it is. And so as we go through that and finalize it, just make sure that the language covers the areas that we think would be important to cover. I don't see that as being prohibitive to it, though. It's not I mean, by its nature, even in just a sample form, but in these other municipalities, it's limited into where they can be, and where they can't be.
Mr. Chair.
Alderman Keister.
Thank you. I must admit my knowledge on this subject right now is not as well as I would like it to be with everything going on. I haven't been able to study it as much as I'd like. But I think it's a very intriguing idea that I definitely want us to see moving forward on. I think there was a lot of good comments from all parties so far. And one thing I guess I have to reflect from the mayor is I want to make sure we do this right and cover all our bases. So as it stands right now, I'm in support of it and want to see us move it forward, because I think it will help benefit this community.
Any other comments? With that, we've got a motion on the floor. All in favor of moving it to the first meeting in June, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item 9, discussion of an ordinance amending section 1062, 7 entitled Designated Burial Aisles of the Cemetery. Mary, you wanna?
Well, the person who spent a lot of time on this, besides the Public Works Director, is the clerk. So I would defer to Clerk Ravel, who has handled some of the inquiries regarding this.
Madam Clerk?
This ordinance was put forward because we have had some inquiries, not a lot, but just enough to ask for a clarification of what we can and can't do. So in the discussion, that was given that Public Works Director Tom Dole has also provided some information of what he would suggest to allow. So that information was put into under Chapter 1062, Section 1062.07, designated burial aisle, to add some wording to clarify that in no event shall more than 2 cremation burials be allowed in the same burial plot. In such instances, cases, or cremation burials, fees for opening and closing only shall be charged. Those are the things that we are already doing. And then also, Attorney Phillips reviewed the wording that's in the state statutes, so he wanted clarification that the person requesting the cremation burial shall provide the city an accountable permanent marker of the name of the person whose cremains are within said cremation and burial container. The sexton shall affix the permanent marker to the burial plot which contains said cremation burial container. I did review the state statutes, and it does require us to place that marker on the plot. We get some inquiries. Uncle Joe has a plot, and I don't want to have to buy one, so can we just put the cremains of Grandma right there in it? So this kind of clarifies those kind of issues for us.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Alderman McClatchy.
Thank you. So Madam Clerk, basically, under the non-underlying language, we allow the practice. This is just kind of putting a limit as to how much that can be used on a certain lot, and then finally trying to make our language of our code mirror the state code in the second portion.
That would be correct.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, or Madam. I'm sitting here, I want to talk to Meg, and I'm like, let's see, how do we do that? Okay. Patrick, could I please talk to Meg? Just a quick question, when you mentioned that it'd be marked, are you saying that it should have a marker similar to a full-size marker? Or are you, that's my only question there, when the guy comes down there and his John Deere about 25 and runs over top of something that big, what's a marker?
I think I would defer to Tom Dole on that. He's sitting back there pretty comfortable.
That's a show. First of all, we always allow this procedure to happen, but it has to be a family member. And there is an additional fee to do a cremation over top of an existing grave. The marker is up to the family to do it, and they can certainly do a full-size marker, double marker, or they can do, any acceptable marker that they'd like, or none. So that's completely up to the family. But we have it in our records that, who is buried there. So we know it whether it's marked or not. Does that answer your question?
Alderman Brush.
Yeah, I think you explained it well. That was my concern, when you stop and think all the maintenance you do at the cemetery, and I know there are some veterans issues with some markers at some other cemeteries and stuff, and it involves getting down to something this big, how you properly maintain everything. That's all I was kind of looking for in the video, so I appreciate that.
Well, and keep in mind, we are involved in placement as well. So we don't have them all over the,
Right.
We're very involved in placement of the markers.
Chair?
Alderman,
Would, Director Dole, would they both be, like when you say you can do this in a plot, is it side by side, end to end? Are both markers up at one end? Just
Always at the head end. But they can do, double marker, triple marker, whatever it is, up to one grave involved and up to 2 cremations over and above that. So it'd be all at the one end. They're not all over the one site.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Alderman Ross.
Yeah, this is in regard to the city cemetery. I can understand this, but my question is, since we're speaking about the city cemetery, how much room is left out there? And should we be eventually looking for land to provide another city cemetery?
I think we can safely use that land for 20 more years.
Should we say we have
Plenty of room.
plenty plots, should we say?
Yes.
That are available? Because I've been asked that question more than once, and this kind of, when we began speaking about this, kind of popped in my head.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of room to do a standard burials, but I would really like to consider a columbarium, which is an above ground,
Okay,
at some
I'll-
point.
maybe there or someplace else?
No, right there.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I hope the TV audience is looking and listening. Thank you.
Sure.
Chair.
In the absence of any further discussion, or if we do, that's fine, but I would make a motion to move the ordinance amending section 1062.7, that's currently in draft form, to the May 15th meeting with a recommendation for approval.
Motion by McClanahan, seconded by Keister. Any other discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We are moving right along. We are at public comments on agenda or not agenda items. Anyone want to talk? Seeing no public comments, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Made a record.
Are you gonna say who called that?
Mike did. Mike did. And then Ross.
Mike.
Put one in each spot, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter really.
Yeah, I'll say.
I think we just set a record.
We gonna vote on that?
Yeah. Aye.
I was looking for it.